All right. Up next, we have Libra Rising and Sun. The Sagittarius Full Moon happening on May 23rd is taking place in your third house. And the Sun is opposite it in the ninth house. And I say that because the ninth house is very future oriented. And something that I saw in the cards that I'm pulling for you guys is I feel like you guys are in a good spot right now. And you are worried that the future is going to not be as good. Or it's almost like when you get something that you want and you're fearful that someone is going to take it from you. That's what I'm seeing with this Seven of Wands and the Ten of Cups, is like having to protect what's yours, having to protect the thing that you think is emotionally fulfilling for you. That's lighting your world up, the thing that you really want. It's either you have it or you're on track to get it and you're fearful it's going to be derailed or that someone's going to take it from you or something bad is going to happen. It's like being focused on the future, Sun, ninth house, but being worried about the worst possible scenario disrupting the future. And that is from the eighth house. And the reason I'm seeing that is because the ruler of this moon, the Sagittarius full moon, is Jupiter. Jupiter is at 29 degrees of Taurus and it's conjunct Venus in your eighth house. Both planets are at 29 Taurus, actually. 29 Taurus is a critical or anaretic degree, and it basically indicates that there is some kind of crisis around the energy of Taurus. Taurus is about our attachment to things. Taurus is about rigidity, consistency, or things that are sustained for long periods of time. And when we have a Jupiter and Venus here at the last degree of the sign, it's asking us, what are we attached to it being a certain way? And sometimes we can be attached to our mode of crisis, which is an eighth house. We can be attached to our fears. We can be attached to our anxieties, our worries. We can have old situations that have impacted us come and taint the way that we're seeing our future. And so I feel like you have a lot to look forward to. There's a lot of positive stuff, especially with the Ten of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune. Like, things are going to go well for you guys. You are going to get the thing that you want. Happiness is here for you already in the present moment. But I feel like there's something about an attachment to the fears and the worries and the anxieties that's letting your current worries creep up and distort your almost like your full enjoyment of having what you want, or the fact that you will have what you want. It's like creeping up, and it's almost like when you're so happy that you're kind of pausing, you're like waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's the type of energy this is, where you are just scared of almost like, yeah, just fearing like change in a way. And that could also come from, if I get what I want, my life is really going to change. And maybe there's a fear around having this death and rebirth process, which is also an eighth house topic where Jupiter and Venus are, where you're going to have to let go of your old self and come into the new. Maybe some of you guys will have a family, and that would change your life completely to now have a kid, for example. That's not going to be relevant for all of you, but there's something here around not only fearing that what you want could get taken away or might not come, but also fearing that the change and the energy and like the type of person you're going to have to become in this new chapter, and that might also feel scary for you. So there's something here where we're overly attached to our limitations and our fears, and this is a time to do some self-reflection on that and ground more into the present moment. And that's a very third house type of energy. The ninth house, where the sun is very focused on the future. And the third house is a lot more aware of what's in its immediate environment. It's a lot more processing what's happening right now versus trying to anticipate and, theorize what's happening in the future, predict what's happening in the future. And so you're meant to be grounding more into the present moment and interacting with and being stimulated by your immediate surroundings, learning from them, being fully engrossed into them, so that you can't obsess or worry about the future or overly plan or overly try to predict what can happen, because it's not serving you. With that, Jupiter and Venus in the eighth house, it is going to, excessive rumination around the future is going to have so many unknowns, and your brain is going to try to fill that with, potential fears or potential things that could go wrong if you lean into that too much. We also have, before I get into that, actually, I think these are related. I wrote down to remove the weeds. So if you are in your current environment and you're very present with what's going on in your life, you have to remember that the things that are going on in your life right now are going to equal up to your future. And so you don't have to worry so much about the future if you're taking care of the present. And that also means to remove the weeds, to remove the things in your life that are actually going to ruin the garden, that are not going to let the garden flourish. And so one of the things that might come up for you is stuff around relationships, because you guys have Mars conjunct Chiron and the North Node in Aries in your 7th house. So something here around like your relationship with someone or something. This could even be a company you work for, a business partner, a romantic partner, a friend, an acquaintance, just like someone in your life that I feel like maybe there's some weird energy around it. And maybe that's something that you can ask yourself, like, is this a weed? Is this something in my life that's not going to grow and prosper and let the other person in my life flourish? Do they support me as a holistic person, or does this thing support me, or is this actually a disadvantage to me in my future? So I think that that's a really big question as well, is what is really serving me, and can I remove what isn't serving me? Instead of focusing on the future so much, I can focus on what I can do right now, which is where the point of power is in the present moment. That's Louise Hay quote. And I love that, because truly the only thing that we can work with is the energy that's physical and tangible right here, right now. And if we're theorizing and predicting and worrying about the future, it doesn't even exist, and it's constantly changing. And so ultimately I feel like it doesn't serve to get overly worried about things far into the future. Even on a personal note, as an astrologer, I used to worry about transits that were happening years from now, or months from now, that were negative. And then I started to notice that those transits would come and pass and I'd be just fine. And some of the things that would manifest were somewhat challenging, and I would get the concept behind why that was happening, but it wasn't anything that I couldn't handle. And I think that that might be a message that you guys need to hear, that if there are hardships that arise in the future, you are going to be equipped to handle them at the time, and that they are going to be necessary rain to water the garden in the future, to help it grow further, and they help you grow as a person. And so ultimately, if there is those circumstances occurring, you have to trust in yourself that you are going to be strong enough to persevere anyway. And if there are things like the 7 of Wands that do quite literally challenge you and challenge your success and challenge the great things that you have to trust in your own resourcefulness and your connection to spirit, your connection to yourself, to push through any of those circumstances. So instead of worrying about it, trust in yourself, trust in the universe that you have what it takes to keep going out. The universe won't give you something that you absolutely cannot handle. So we're going to wrap up with a question. So ask a question likely about your manifestation or timing or something maybe advice related. And I'm going to pull a card for that right now. All right. So we got more than one card. First group for that. Okay. Wow. That's crazy. These two things play off of each other. Okay, so whatever your question is, it says, reconsider, there is something better. I love that these two came out together because it feels like a complete sentence. There's something in your life that you might be overly attached to, that you might want, and this is a very, thematic for this full moon. But there might be a certain way of looking at your life, of looking at what you want and what you desire, or whatever your question is about. There might be some way of looking at it that you are attached to. But actually, if you let enough time go by, and if you wait, and if you process this a little bit more and consider it from different angles and perspectives and get more information, I think that you'll find that there's actually a much better way to approach whatever this is, or to have or the thing that you want will change in some way. So reconsider, there is something better out there for you. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Libra. A few announcements. I am now offering a medical and fertility astrology reading. If you're interested in either of those, they are temporarily at a discount. You can find those in the description box. Down there, you can also find the link to subscribe to my email list so you don't miss a forecast. I know a lot of people don't get recommended my videos. And there's also additional astrology information there to support you. If you enjoyed this, please also don't forget to comment down below, like, subscribe, share with your friends, and have a beautiful day. Bye.